Hi, I am Sarah. I read as Sora the Intuitive for Sky Messages by Sora. I am a tarot reader who specializes in past life readings. I also teach and mentor the tarot. I have two journals, one for learning the tarot and one for more learning yourself and deepening the connection with your deck. That one's a collaboration with Killer Pancake, who makes a couple of the decks I'll be reviewing. The reason I started this channel, and specifically this series, the tarot review series, is that I really want people to be able to have a connection. I want anyone who wants to do the tarot to be able to learn it. And a lot of times people get really frustrated because the first deck that they start using, they don't really connect with. And so I'm hoping that instead of getting frustrated or spending a lot of money on decks that they then realize they don't want, people can sort of start to learn what their style is, what theme they're looking for, what kind of imagery works for them, and help people find the right decks for them. I do believe that if there is a tarot deck out there, there is an audience for it. And if there is somebody who wants to learn, then there's definitely a deck for them. So this won't have star ratings. This won't be about what's good and bad. It'll be about the details, such as the guidebook, a level that it's good for, like basic to advanced. It will be, how close it is to the Rider-Waite or the Tarot de Marseille, or the Thoth for those who prefer that. And it will just give people a look and hopefully help them start to begin their journey. Or for those of us who have been on their journey for a while, but are thinking about new decks and testing out different things, give them a preview. So there are some of the decks behind me, but if there are any you're interested in, let me know. And let's get started. This week we are looking at the Spacious Tarot. This is a deck that I am borrowing, so I do not have it in its box or with its guidebook, but I can tell you that the guidebook is very nice. It does not have pictures, but it does have a lot of details. It's a good solid actual book versus the booklet that you usually see. This deck itself, I believe, was originally a Kickstarter. It's really beautiful. It's nature-oriented. There's no people. I find that to be really relaxing, and I think that's a nice one if you get overwhelmed with the ideas of trying to fit people into their places. The suits stay the traditional cups, swords, pentacles, and wands. They did make a change to the court cards, so you'll see that they are here. We have the explorer. This would be a knight. They have the child, which would be a page. They also have the guardians or the queens and the elders or the kings. To me, it makes a lot of sense when they're lined up, but it takes some reminding myself if they're not together. They make sense. They're just not quite as intuitive for me as a lot of these things would be. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you are just starting out with this deck, you might want to have a little note somewhere to remind yourself of those. Within the suits, they keep the court cards, they keep to the same animal. So the cups are the koi, cups are the water element. That's perfect. Pentacles are earth. They use the bears there. With the swords, you have air, and those are the birds. With the wands, you have the salamanders, which have a history, superstitions, legends surrounding them. wherein salamanders would never burn around fire, so I love them for the wand element. The colors are really soft and pretty. There's a mix of pastels and bright colors. Very calming. The symbolism is great. I'm sorry, not just birds, crows for the swords. The symbolism is really nice. If you are more intermediate or advanced, I feel like the imagery and symbolism on each of the cards is really nice. If you are more of a beginner, this is not the deck that I would learn on. I think it's a nice deck for beginners. I just don't think it's where I would start. I would have another deck that I was learning on and then see where I could fit in the symbols. That is if you are someone who is happy to learn a couple decks at once. It's not for everybody. There are positive and negatives to doing it that way. One of the great things about doing that way is that you can really get a feel for how you can carry some symbolism through. And so you can pick up, at first glance, this Nine of Swords is actually very similar to a lot of the Nine of Swords. It's a card of anxiety, and you see on his little face that he's got the little worries in his head as the swords hang over. But for the Six of Swords, while beautiful and for me carries on the idea of moving forward, where we kind of leave all this stuff in the past without the usual going over the river Styx, that sort of thing. It might not jog your memory. But to have this next to a deck that does, I think would really help you to see these kind of visuals. So it's just an idea. This is a really beautiful deck. It's very calm. And I think that makes it really nice for beginners because the messages that come from it are very direct, but they aren't harsh. They're not sugar-coated either. They're just not so intense. And I think the soft delivery makes it a nice one to start out on. I just don't think it would be my only deck to start out on. So who is it good for? This deck is great for most levels. Like I said, it's even a deck that I would recommend for beginners. I just don't think it would be the only deck if I were beginning. If you love nature, if you like the softer but more direct messages, if you like the more pastel type cards, or the brighter but not as dark, it's not a harsh deck, neither in design or in message. So I do think it's a really nice one to have in your collection for the days where you just need something a little nicer, essentially. I think it is a really good one for if you're having a rough day. I think it's a nice one for weddings. I've used it for bachelorette parties, weddings. I am borrowing it, but I've been borrowing it, and I am lucky enough to have a friend who would prefer that her deck get used. So I've been able to try it out in a lot of different settings, and it is a really nice one, a great one to get comfortable with. All right, so I'm going to move on to the reading for the week. And of course, if you want to see more readings, next week we will have the pick-a-piles. While I shuffle, I am going to thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing with your friends, sharing with people that you think could benefit from deck reviews or mini readings. If you would like to see these reviews and readings earlier, or you would like bonus content, monthly live stream, community, or access to the secret menu, discounts, anything like that, head over to the Patreon. If you are interested in a personal reading, head over to the website or email me. I will not contact you. I do not do unsolicited asks for readings. I am always happy to do a reading, but you have to come to me for it. And I have mini readings all the way up to my past life readings and custom. So if you don't see it, go ahead and ask. And that is that for the spiel. Thank you so much. Let's get on with the reading for the week. So I'm just going to do a 3-card reading as kind of a look ahead, and I'm going to put them where you can see them. And we have the Empress, the Explorer or Knight of Wands, and Judgment. So the Empress has been showing up a lot lately when I do community type readings. This is a card of nurturing, of compassion, of fertility and creation. The thing about the Empress is she's considered the mom of the tarot, but fertility, creation in the tarot, and birth and all that isn't just about babies. So it is about creating something that you love so much that you put a piece of yourself into it. The Empress is the culmination of all 4 queens, and that makes her compassionate and nurturing, but it also gives her all kinds of insights and intuition that allows her to tap into herself and put that out there. So when you see her, instead of just thinking about how you can take care of others, think about what you want to put out there and what you want to create and nurture and love and see hit its fullest potential. With that card, we have the Explorer of Wands, which is a card of adventure. You see, he is ready to go. So you've got this out. You're pouring yourself into this thing, and where do you want to go with it? You know, this is taking it to the next step, the next level. This is taking it as far as you can. This is seeing how far you can go with this just this week. This is opening up your minds and just letting things fly. You know, just pushing it to the limit this week to see how much you can do with this baby of yours. Whether it's a business idea or a passion project, or even a relationship, why not? See how far you can go with it. And then we have that with Judgment. So Judgment is not about being judgmental. It's not about looking down on people. It's actually just about observing patterns. So you take the step back and you look at, when I do this, I get this. And when I do that, I get that. I want more of this, or I want less of this. I want more of that. I want more of that. How do we need to adjust? I love that for the ending with this Empress and Explorer of Wands, because you'll have so much to work with, right? At the end of the week, if you have gone for it and you've just done whatever you could to get your dream going, and you look and see what stuck and what didn't, you will have so much to observe and work with as you go forward. So I just want you to think about that this week. Maybe take some risks. You know, don't go crazy with it, or do go crazy with it. Either way, take some risks. See how far you can push yourself. See how far you can get your dream going. And then slow down, look at all of it, and figure out what you want to do next. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.